The entire class erupted in laughter when Mr. Spencer, the smug AP calculus teacher, handed a piece of chalk to the school janitor, Ms. Eleanor Brooks. To them, she was just a janitor, a kind, quiet woman whose hands bore the calluses of a lifetime of labor. The gesture wasn't a compliment. It was laced with sarcasm. Maybe Eleanor here can solve this one. We've been stuck on it for over a week, he quipped, pointing to the dense problem on the board. The students laughed louder. Eleanor paused mid-mop, her face unreadable. Come on, Eleanor, he continued, smirking. Surely you've picked up something from all those years cleaning this classroom. What happened next silenced the room. Eleanor calmly set the mop aside and walked toward the chalkboard. The laughter died. Her hands moved with quiet precision. Her eyes scanned the equation, her mind already deconstructing its layers. She didn't hesitate. As she began to write, her movements were deliberate, assured. Mr. Spencer leaned back against his desk, his arms crossed, his expression smug. That expression faltered as Eleanor worked, replaced with growing disbelief. Her calculations were exact, her logic airtight. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted. Mockery gave way to fascination. When Eleanor stepped back, the problem, once unsolvable to the brightest in the room, had been elegantly dismantled. The room fell silent, jaws slack. The woman they had dismissed, the janitor they had overlooked, had just solved a problem none of them could. And she had done it with grace. No one spoke. Even Mr. Spencer was stunned. One student whispered, "Did she really just—" Another muttered, "She's a genius." But Eleanor said nothing. She didn't seek applause. She didn't smile or revel in their astonishment. She simply returned to her mop, standing a little taller. Years ago, Eleanor had been a top student at a prestigious university. Her future was once filled with academic accolades and the promise of breakthroughs in applied mathematics. But life, with its twists and brutal turns, had different plans. Family obligations, financial hardship, and sacrifices made quietly had drawn her from lecture halls to hallways where she cleaned up after others. But none of that had erased her brilliance. When the bell rang, no one moved. The students remained still, their minds racing, their perspectives shifting. Eleanor left the room with quiet dignity, a woman who had nothing to prove but had proven everything. Over the next few days, everything changed. Eleanor, who once moved through the school like a ghost, was now greeted with nods and cautious smiles. The same students who had laughed now whispered about her past, her intelligence, her quiet strength. Mr. Spencer found himself thinking constantly about that moment. He had always prided himself on being the smartest in the room, but he had been wrong. One afternoon, he knocked softly on the door to the janitor's closet. Eleanor looked up. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" he asked. She nodded. He stepped inside awkwardly, the scent of bleach and pine in the air. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't know who I was dealing with." Eleanor studied him, then gave a small nod. "Most people don't, but that doesn't mean I haven't always been capable." He nodded, humbled. "You taught me something. I always assumed intelligence came with a title, a degree, a spotlight. But sometimes it comes with silence and humility." Eleanor smiled faintly. "We all have our paths. Mine led here, and that's okay." Mr. Spencer hesitated. "If you ever want to teach or tutor, I'd be honored to recommend you. You deserve more than this." Eleanor's expression remained gentle. "Thank you, but I'm exactly where I need to be." In the weeks that followed, Eleanor's presence seemed to anchor the school. Students walked taller around her, not out of fear but respect. Even Principal Howard, a man known for his reserve, approached her. "Eleanor," he said, catching her in the cafeteria one morning. "I've heard what happened. The students talk about it nonstop. So the faculty too. I had no idea about your background." Eleanor shrugged, pushing her broom gently aside. "It's not something I advertise." He nodded. "I understand, but I want to offer you something. We have a spot open in the math department. Part-time. You could help students who need extra support. Maybe run an advanced workshop after school." For a moment, Eleanor was tempted, but then she shook her head. I appreciate it truly, but I've found peace in what I do. And sometimes that's more than enough. Principal Howard nodded. Just know the door is always open. In time, the legend of Eleanor Brooks spread beyond the school. She became a symbol, not of missed opportunity, but of quiet power. Students began requesting her for help, not because of her job, but because of her mind. Teachers who had once dismissed her now stopped to speak. She remained the same Eleanor, sweeping floors and wiping windows, but now she did so with the weight of respect behind every step. One day, a call came from the district office. A new initiative sought to highlight unsung heroes, real stories of perseverance and brilliance in unexpected places. Principal Howard nominated Eleanor without hesitation. When he told her, she hesitated. "I'm not sure I'm the right person." "You are," he said. "More than you know. You changed the way people see the world." She eventually agreed. Not for recognition, not for applause, but because maybe, just maybe, there was a student somewhere who needed to hear her story. At the event, Eleanor stood before a room full of educators, students, and leaders. She took a breath. "I'm not a genius," she began. "I'm someone who took a different path. Not because I wasn't capable of another one, but because life required it. But brilliance doesn't disappear. It waits. And sometimes, when the time is right, it shines." The room fell silent, then erupted into applause. Eleanor didn't seek fame, but she had become a symbol of quiet strength, of unseen brilliance, of the truth that sometimes the most extraordinary minds are hidden in the most ordinary places. And from that day forward, no one at Morgan High ever looked at Eleanor Brooks the same way again.